What I learned from AI this week, and it's not what you think. Hey legends, James Russell here, TradieVA, and every week on the Time Rich Tradie, we unpack what it really takes to build a trade empire, get you back to what you do best, and hopefully not spend 80 hours a week doing it. If you like what you see, subscribe to get more juice. So how many times a week do you say to your team, I told them what to do, they just didn't get it. They're just not picking up what I'm putting down. Can't they just use some common sense? Do I have to do everything myself? So anyway, last week I had a good belly laugh because, being the king of delegation and all, I'd actually just come off the phone with one of my team where I was getting, let's say, a little frustrated. They'd spent a good few hours on a project and I'd thought it was going this way. It ended up this way. Just not what I wanted at all. I had some stuff I had to do. So I went on to ChatGPT and was having pretty good results doing something. But I stopped and thought, and I actually went back to the actual instruction I'd given my team. And it was hilarious. This is where I had the belly laugh. The instruction I gave my team was, see this stuff in this file? Could you just take it over to this one? But I want you to make it look better. Cool, thanks. You got it? They said, yep. And they went and did it. Spent a few hours, came back, not great. Then I imagined if I talked to ChatGPT like that. Can you make me a brochure? Make this look better? That's it. No context, no purpose, no audience. I'm not expecting magic, right? But yeah, we do it every day with our team. So why do we expect our apprentice, our virtual assistant, our ops manager, whatever, to produce gold from this vague rubbish? Because that's what it is. Garbage in, garbage out. And I just look at the kinds of instructions, setting up those SOPs for the day-to-day stuff that happens all the time. We know that we've got a process for that, right? To get things that are consistent, that happen every day. I'm talking about those instructions that you just pick up the phone, blow it down, say you got it, and expect, that they're going to read your mind. 80% of what's happening out there when it comes to the ad hoc tasks. If I was to ask ChatGPT to do that, what would I do? And it was never the same way I would have approached it. To be honest, it actually didn't take much longer. There wasn't a whole bunch of extra stuff. It's not like I had to micromanage. I just had to give context. And it's how I naturally speak to ChatGPT is I understand that it's very intelligent, but it needs context to be able to deliver me the result that I want. And I'm hearing you say, look, if I have to explain it, I may as well do it myself. That's why I've got these humans, because I want them to think for themselves. But let me tell you, explaining it well, giving that extra few seconds on the way you put that 10% data in, that context, that's how you're going to buy your time back. It's not micromanagement, it's respect. It's leadership. You're not hovering. You're being respectful in your communication. You're handing over a real responsibility with real clarity. The clearer the handover, the stronger the ownership that person's going to take, and the output is going to be far more aligned with where you're looking at. So let's look at a few different practical examples of how you can take the same ways you should be speaking to ChatGPT and take that and be able to do the exact same thing with your team. There's a few models. So there's one, I guess, probably the one I use the most often, which is called the TAG system. Task, action, goal. So what exactly needs doing? That's the task. Now that's often the one we get. What's the task we want to get done? But how should it be done? Is there a format, tone, reference, process to relate it to? How is that action going to be taken? And then most importantly, what does good look like? What's the outcome? What does done well look like? And by when? That's the SMART goal, right? It's only three things. The same thing as task, how you want it done, and what does good look like? Right. So for example, let's say, can you draft a client update email? That's the task. Using last month's layout, pulling progress from the site report. That's the action. That's the how. I want it client ready by 3 p.m. so I can check it and send it today. That's the goal. They win if it's client ready, drafted for me by 3 p.m. so I can check it and send it. How much different was that than, oh, can you send an email on an update, Cheryl? Thanks, bye. Now, that took 5 seconds to say one thing, 15 seconds to say the other. Do you think that 10 seconds was worth it? This is not about that one email or the fact that it may or may not be the correct output. It's what kind of culture are you building in your business if that's the kind of clarity you're putting down the line to your people? How are they speaking to theirs? If you have a culture of confusion rather than a culture of clarity, how does that look? How does it look when everybody's getting in trouble from everybody else for not using common sense and it's just bouncing around? How about the opposite, where you've got a culture of clarity, a culture where your team starts anticipating your standards because you've been rolling that TAG methodology. They know how to be doing that work because every time you put through an order, you've got that context. Your VA then starts to be able to own tasks end to end rather than keep coming back to you because they're so scared they're not going to get it done right. Jobs move faster and you get fewer check-ins and better results. Now, that's a nice, simple explanation, but I want to give you two. How about we start to raise the bar? Actually see that our talent that we have, your estimator, your site supervisor, that they all have a huge amount to give and they want to show their initiative. So let's take it up a notch, right? So you started to build a bit of clarity around how you do things. Maybe your values are clear and you want to really start pushing that initiative. The other way that I often speak to ChatGPT is I understand it probably knows more than me about how it wants to be asked a question. So I will often actually say, this is the output I'm looking for. This is the goal, but I'd like you to ask me one question at a time in an iterative fashion, what you need in order to perform this. Because you've got to remember, if I run the tag, it will absolutely do what I do, given what you give it. But there's no room for finding out more. Let's do the email example. I want you to send an email update to the client. What is it you need to know to be able to get me a draft that's client ready by 3 p.m.? Just ask me one question at a time until you feel like you have everything you need to be able to do that. Now, again, in that context, it may not be right because they always have what they need. They've been doing this for a while. But especially in the beginning, where they might not feel comfortable asking those questions, you've given them a beautiful space to be able to do that. And you're holding that space now, saying, it's okay. I'm actually asking you to ask me questions in order to make this done. What do you need from me to achieve? Just start having to think about how your team's going to react when you start to approach your conversations with that kind of respect. I'm going to give you context about how you're going to be able to perform these tasks. I'm not going to need to spend much more time, but I'm going to respect you enough to know that you don't need to push back. I'm going to give you what you need. So, legends, I've got a bit of a challenge for you this week. Before you delegate anything, when you're about to say, can you do this? I want you to go, if I was to ask ChatGPT, if I was going to ask AI to do this, would that be good enough? Would I be able to get the result I needed? Have you given the how, the outcome, and a clear task? Or have you found out what else they need to know in order to be able to achieve that goal? Try it on for size, write it out. Give me 5. Give me 5 times where you've said something in a way that would have got your output with ChatGPT, and let's see what the difference is. Quality input, quality output makes a business that doesn't lean on you for every little thing, because you're going to be now training your team to do it with their team, and they're going to rise to the top. So as always, systemize it, optimize it, delegate it. That's how you're going to scale it. Share this podcast, subscribe to more, and catch you on the next Time Rich Tradie.